The process was that Bill would get together with Charles Schultz and come up with a story. And then Bill would come back and he'd do the storyboard. And he'd actually do the story. They would come up with a premise, and so Bill would actually develop the story and the storyboard. And then Schultz would make whatever corrections, and Bill would come back and finish it, and they do a recording using actual little kids, and to keep the youthful exuberance in there, in the voices. And so then once I got a soundtrack, then I started breaking it down into scenes, and I would time it all out, time out the whole picture on bar sheets, which you actually can go through and time the action down to each frame, and with the dialogue and the action, and even put in sound effects just on the bar sheets. And so once I timed out the show, then I would go through individual scene by scene. In the meantime, a layout person would have the storyboard and would be actually laying out the backgrounds and kind of indicating where a character would go into each scene. And so I would get those folders with, and then I would go through and make sketches of the characters in whatever action they were going to be in, what expressions, what attitude, what kind of actions they were going to be doing. And so I make a series of drawings, and then once I had a stack of drawings, then I would call an animator in, and I would hand out the scenes to him and walk the animator through what the action is, what I expected, the pacing, the timing, and the feel of the scene. And so he would go off and animate it. Usually, most of the animators were freelance animators. They worked at home. And so I give them about a week's worth of work. And then, so I did it, had like about maybe 4, 5, 6 animators per half hour. And so just keeping me busy. And so, so that's the way, just go through the whole picture, just go to the very end. And just time every scene out, and make the drawings, and work with the animators. And in the meantime, I'm also working with the musicians, trying to go through the story and what kind of moods the music would be in, and how what kind of feeling you want. If there's going to be a song, where the song would be in, and what the song would say, and and that kind of thing. So, and then once the animator brought his scenes back, pencil sketches, an assistant would clean them up and do the in-betweens. Then we'd do a pencil test, and we'd look at Bill and I would look at the action and see if it's flowing right. We'd make changes, give it back to the animator. And so we'd keep adding each scene onto the reel, so that we could see how the whole picture was coming out in continuity. So, and then finally we got, but once the action of each scene was approved, then we would send it over to the ink and paint department to be the drawings, so that they can be inked and painted and onto cells, onto celluloid. And then at that same time, there would be backgrounds being made that behind the characters, and painting the world that they live in, and so then at the very end, everything comes in, and it goes to camera, and the cameraman then, based on the animator's exposure sheet, he exposes each drawing based on the way the animator planned the sequence of drawings. And so combining the background and the different layers of characters, there's 1 or there's 5 characters, so they're all photographed for finished. And so then once we have it in color, then we go through and start putting sound effects and lay in the music and do the final mix. And you got a finished picture.
How long did this process take from beginning to end?
About 6 months. About 6 months to do a half-hour show. And that's, again, having all the animators in town, everybody, coming in and actually working with the animators. That was a great luxury. You don't have that now, but that was a great luxury to actually, work with the animators and, explain to them how the scene works and how the character, how far to push it. And so that's a fun part.